This is a plenary session bringing together the World Public Forum and Use Time Forum. It's the first time that we have done, and we all hope that it will work. We're not totally sure, but we have the best intentions of making it work. So we have, with the Use Time, we have in the World Public Forum always sort of coexisted over several years. We had a very friendly and amicable type of coexistence, but this is the first time where we really meet together. It's an intergenerational meeting, and it's meant to be a meeting of intergenerational learning. It's of course so, as we all know, we all learn across generations. Young people hopefully learn from some older people, or senior people, but senior people also frequently learn from younger people. And I certainly have experienced this in my life. I have been a college teacher, a professor for 50 years, and I have tried to impart, to transmit my knowledge or whatever insight I have to the young people, to the students, to the best of my ability. But I've always been surprised how, in trying to teach students, they in turn have turned around to teach me. I've always learned a lot from these meetings with students, because I found that they look at things from a different angle. They ask strange questions, and they sort of unsettle my expertise in a certain field and make me rethink my assumptions. So encounter with students is always a learning experience, which is very important for teachers. I'm also a father, I'm also a grandfather now, and I find that I even learn from my children, from my grandchildren. When I look at my grandchildren, of course, they're adorable and all these things, and they're very nice, but also they're very strange creatures, because they ask all kinds of questions. They ask me, why do you say that? Why do you do that? Why do you go across the street here? What is the point? What is the point of this? What is the point of that? Why does the chicken cross the road? And all these questions they ask, and of course we say, well, that's all very nice, that's very cute. But deep down, I think we realize we are all also a bit envious, because they are still so unspoiled and so free to ask questions. And frequently, we have sort of forgotten how to ask these questions. So I just want to say, older people always learn also, not only teach too, but also learn from younger people. Now, this is our first joint meeting, and the young people here, I hope, also want to learn from the older generation, from the people that are in the World Public Forum. So let me just say a few words about the World Public Forum, into which you are now sort of integrated or welcomed, initiated. What is this kind of World Public Forum? Now, I don't have to tell you, this is not a soccer club, although many people like to play soccer. It's not a bridge club. It's not even a philanthropic club. I once wrote a statement about the World Public Forum. It's called Who Are We? Who Are We? And it's on our website. I encourage you to read it. And I claimed in that statement that we are basically an ethical community, an ethical or spiritual community. We are not a professional association. We are not an association of engineers, of business people. We are not an academic institution. We are not a church. But we are an ethical community. And we want to initiate you or introduce you and welcome you into this kind of community. Now, what does that mean? World Public Forum means that we discuss, we explore the things that happen in the world in this forum. We want to analyze the events in this world, the crises in the world, the problems that we face in this world, whether they are ecological or economic or political or financial. We want to analyze these problems in the world, and we want to analyze it as accurately as possible, as precisely as possible. We want to gain true knowledge about the state of our world, what our world is in. And this is very important because there's so much misinformation in the world, so much brainwashing going on. There's a whole politics of misinformation, of information warfare that prevents us from knowing really what is going on in the world. So that's one of the first aims of the World Public Forum, is to know, to be knowledgeable about what goes on in the world, to discuss this in a dialogical fashion, because we also call it the dialogue of civilization. From different angles, we try to discuss the situation in the world as accurately as we can. However, there is another element. Behind this drive to know about this world and talk about this world, there is also a question. And that's just like the question that grandchildren ask. They ask, why? Why is the world in this condition that it is? Why is the world in such a mess? Why is there so much injustice? Why is there so much suffering? Why is there so much exploitation? Why is there so much carnage and killing and killing of innocent people in this world? And this goes on and on. Why? This is the persistent question that we ask. And how can we deal with that? So in this why question, there arises in us a certain hope, a certain aspiration, a certain stimulation, namely to find, if possible, an alternative to the mess that the world is in. We like to know what kind of a world we are in, but we also want to know why is the world in such a mess presently, and we want to find an antidote to this. It's not just enough that the doctor tells us what is wrong with us. We also expect from a doctor some remedies. So we are also looking for some remedies, and these are remedies which put us in touch with resources which are not found in knowledge, properly speaking, but which are ethical and spiritual resources. These are the inspirations which drive us to find an alternative world, an alternative future, a different kind of world in which it is really possible to live, a world with perhaps not a perfect world, a world with less injustice, with less inequality, with less domination, with less killing, with less mayhem, with less catastrophes. This is the world which we are seeking in the World Public Forum, and that's an ethical aspiration, a spiritual aspiration, if you will. Now, if you use religious language, then basically the drive or the impulse which leads us forward is the search for a better world, the search which religiously is called the kingdom or the kingdom to come, the promised land, what Muslims called the land of the Mahdi, and what Buddhists called the land of the Maitreya Buddha. So this is the inspiration, what drives us forward, the promise of a better world. That is in us, that is which drives us, it's the impulse, it's a yearning, it's a powerful passion. Don't forget this. There's a passion in this community, in this World Public Forum. It's the passion for justice, a passion for a better world. Without this passion, we are nothing. We cannot just recount, data and data and data. We have to have a passion to improve the world, to overcome the world, to overcome the miseries of the world. So this is the passion which we want to bequeath on the young people here. If we have a legacy to give to the young people, to the Youth Forum, it's this kind of passion. We hope it's contagious. We hope it's a contagious passion for justice. That is what we want to bequeath. Now, if you don't like the religious language, we are now in the land of Greece, and we are in the land of Plato. Now, Plato gave us these great lodestars, these great ideals to strive for. So let's invoke the Platonic ideals of truth, goodness, and beauty. This is what we are aiming for. That's our goal. And let it be contagious throughout the generation, and from this generation to the next generation and future generation. This is what drives us. We are not just mired in the world as it is. We are aspiring to a world as it can be, as it might be, as it in the future will be, if we devote ourselves to this task. So that is what makes it the World Public Forum. That's what we are all about. And I think I speak with the agreement of most of the people in our World Public Forum. So I have been asked to make these introductory remarks. So you are most welcome as partners in our enterprise. We hope you will join us. We hope we will share some of our passion. And we, of course, are very passionate about what we are doing. And we are passionate of educating younger people and interacting with younger people, and at the same time, learning from younger people. We are very ready to learn from you. Don't mistake that. We may be older, we have gray hair, but we are still students. There was a famous philosopher who, when he was in his 80s, and was already very, very distinguished and famous, he said, "Finally, I'm at last a true beginner." A true beginner. I can ask again the basic questions. So with all of that, I welcome you very, very warmly, and I hope we can collaborate well, and we have a good meeting this morning. Now, many things are more procedural. Don't be distracted by this. We will manage somehow. Much of it, mind you, much of it has been planned before and has been thought through before, but most of it will be improvisation. There will be a whole lot of improvisation going on, and don't be distracted by that. That's what we have to do. We have to improvise a new way of doing things, a new way of thinking, a new way of living in this world. We have to improvise a new world, okay? So let's start this together.